Republican presidential candidate Ron Paul made another campaign stop in Moscow right before Super Tuesday. Good evening, I'm Ron Morosco.
And I'm Meg McNamara. As reporter Cindy Cha found out, he sought out a larger venue this time around.
After his first visit several weeks ago to a shout-out crowd at the U of I's Student Union building, Ron Paul chose the Kibbie Dome this time to accommodate the thousands of his supporters. Paul returned to the Gem State just one day before Idaho's Republican presidential caucus, a state he says is fertile ground for his message.
This is a very well-known state for the defense of individual liberty and self-reliance, and we have an election coming up, and it's coming up like tomorrow. And how we do here is very, very important.
He talked about the message of liberty, foreign policy, and the Federal Reserve, but it was the Patriot Act that he strongly opposes.
The Patriot Act was passed rather rapidly, and it was said that this was going to protect us. All you have to think about is now that they can use, you search anything that we own, our homes, our websites, all our records, they have access to this without search warrants.
Paul answered a few questions from the audience and met briefly with the media to answer more questions. However, KLEW News got the exclusive interview. And Dr. Paul, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Now, I know that you were just here a couple of weeks ago, and there's a tremendous amount of support from young people. Why do you think young people admire you so much?
Well, I think they realize what they're inheriting, in the sense of the debt is a big burden. I think young people are naturally more independent-minded. They're not locked in and stereotyped as we get conditioned as we get older. I think young people have a natural tendency to not like war, which is very, very good. And they also have a tendency to be very independent-minded. I think all of us are that way, and it's sort of beaten out of us. But, when you think about young children or either teenagers, we're rather independent-minded. So I think it's very attractive to say that you talk about a philosophy where you get to make up your own mind. It's your life. But I also preach that if they mess up, they can't go and depend on somebody else to take care of them if they don't act responsibly.
Tomorrow's a big day, Super Tuesday. Now, if you don't do well, if you don't win in the primaries and caucuses, do you continue to keep going?
Well, I imagine so. I think we're going to do well. And because sometimes, so far, we probably have about 3 states that we actually won the majority of the delegates, even though we didn't win the straw vote. So, no, I think we're going to do well on getting delegates, and that's what we'll be looking at, the bottom line on delegate count.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Paul.
you. Good to see you.
And that's going to do it for us here at the Kibbie Dome. Cindy Cha, KLEW News.
Paul also visited Sandpoint and Idaho Falls. Idaho's caucus is one of 10 presidential nominating contests on the appropriately dubbed Super Tuesday.